Okay, awesome. Well, to kick this off, Gaurav, what I'd love to know is just a little bit about your background. I think students learn a lot from hearing about our journeys and how we got
Sure.
to the job where you're in today. And I read a bit about you from your profile, and you've had lots of different jobs along the way. So,
Yep.
how did your journey start, and how did you kind of get to where you are today?
Sure. First thing I'd like to inform is, so I'm from India. I was born in India. So I was born near Mumbai. Then how I started is, so I'm a structural engineer basically. I design buildings right now. I did my bachelor's in civil engineering from IIT Bombay. So that was in 2018 I graduated, and then after that I straight away went to US for further studies, because I was very clear in my mind that I have to do masters, I have to learn a lot, I have to explore, because structural engineering buildings, it's all over the world, iconic buildings and everything. So
Definitely.
it was clear in my mind that I want to learn and I want to explore. So that's why I went to US and I did my masters there from University of Maryland College Park. The sad thing was that I graduated in May 2020. That
Wow,
was the heat of
a
COVID.
tough time to get into the job
Very tough
place.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I still remember, like till February 2020, I was like so busy with my college, with my research, with my job applications, talking to recruiters and everything. And just after that, straight away in March, no calls, no messages.
Uh,
The only thing I was hearing was, sorry, we are on pause, we are on pause. So yeah, that was a
that's
tough time. And I mean, people have experienced such kind of things, the Great Depression in 2008, that one thing, and many other things when the market were bad. So it was not new. It was new for me. So I took some advice from people on LinkedIn. I met them, like just like we are meeting right now. I
oh,
met
okay.
them, and yeah, and so what I got was to be patient and just accept, whatever positions coming in, because any experience is a good experience. So at the time, I took the job of a bridge engineer at VDOT, the Virginia Department of Transportation.
In the US?
I was, yeah, in the US, in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, government was still hiring at that time, because bridge infrastructure that's for public to use, and that is going to continue to be used.
Right.
So they needed that, so that's why I got hired there. Regarding that job, I got that job partially through LinkedIn, through networking, and partially through applying on their online website, and it was a mix of that. So that was that. But I was always keeping eyes on, what I wanted to do. I have always wanted to do building design.
Okay.
So, and those two are two different things. The bridge design and building design, those are two different concepts and everything. So it was like a career switch for me. As soon as the market got better in March 2022, I switched to Walter P. Moore. So I joined their Washington DC office in US.
Okay.
uh, that was like a career switch and career transition for me. That was very difficult, to explain this to project managers and senior folks while interviewing, that how will I use those technical skills. So that was a tough part. So what I did was I actually got a mentor at that time to, how to do career switch and how to answer those questions.
A mentor. You found a mentor?
Yeah, I found a mentor.
Okay.
Yep, I got a mentor from ASC. Some program, some scheme was there from ASC, and I got this really good mentor. She was very helpful for me. We did mentorship for around 6 months, and the only thing, I always asked her was, how should I approach these people who are not from my field.
Right.
And yep, yeah. So the great advice of what I got was, to be not to be, shy, Just target the company that you want, target the location that you want, and then you try to find these people on LinkedIn, and then you try to connect with them, whatever nationality, whatever gender, whatever, no need to think about that. Just try to network, because LinkedIn is a platform where two people are not just networking about, two peers who are networking.
Yes.
So I did. Yeah.
And is that
Yeah,
the job you're in currently now?
no, no, no. So I'll get to that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh, no
So
problem.
yeah, so I did that, and then in 2022, March 2022, I got the job. That was a long application process that took about
Wow,
like 4 or 5 months. I mean, because of the holiday season and everything. So, but yeah, I mean, it was really great experience. The interview process, I mean, I was nervous, but it was a great experience. And then I worked there for about 1.5 years. And then in July 2023, I actually moved back to US, sorry, India, due
oh,
to due to some personal reasons. But when I came here, I mean, I did not continue my old job because the time zones were different and everything, and I wanted to stay close to my family. So that's why I thought it's best if I find a job here. So I'm basically settled in Mumbai right now, and I found a job at RO. It's also one of the top companies in our field. And then that was also a difficult challenge, because I worked for 3 years in US. I did their practice, and now I'm back in India, where standards are different, and the
of
way the work is done is different. The work culture is different.
course.
So yeah, another challenge for me, to figure
Just
out how to, yeah, to figure out how to explain this to recruiters that, okay, I can now transfer those skills to skills here.
I see.
So yeah.
Okay, well that's a really impressive journey, Gaurav. And
Yeah.
one that I think students can learn a lot from because in Canada, I actually work with many international students, but I myself am from Canada, so
Okay.
there's a big part of their experience that I'm not familiar with. So
Okay.
when you first came from India to Maryland,
Hmm.
what are some of the things you did that helped you find your first job? I know you mentioned going to company websites and using LinkedIn. Um,
Yes.
did you use any resources on campus where you did your master's, or do you have any specific tips for international students who, they've come to a new place, they may not know anyone.
Sure.
Where's the first place that you looked kind of for help?
Yes. So actually, I did not mention it, but when I was studying, I got a part-time job as graduate teaching assistant in physics department.
Ah,
So that is how I supported my education. But the way I got that job, it was actually interesting, because first 6 months I could not find any job. Figuring out, how to do things in US was very difficult as an international student. How things are done in US, because technology is different and people are different. The way, things work was different. So I just kept talking to people who got the job, and I just kept asking them, how you did this, how you did that, what was your interview experience, how did the recruiter approach you, or how you approached the recruiter. And then I made network, I made friends, and actually one of the friend who got back to me that, okay, hey, this position is open, and now
ah,
you can apply for this job. So I made that network, and that's why I got that position, the first job, my first job.
that's extremely helpful to hear, Agrawal. And a lesson I think many students might not have learned yet, that idea of asking people who have been hired, what did
Exactly.
you do and how did you approach it and what was it like? I
Exactly.
think, yeah, I think it's easy to maybe, be jealous or be resentful of those people when really they can teach you so much. I think you approached it in a a great
Definitely.
way.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah. I mean, asking for help is the biggest challenge,
Um,
according to me.
I agree. I agree with that as well.
Yep.
And I feel like I have thankfully learned this lesson as well and reached out to the people who are doing better than me to learn from them.
Oh,
And it does lead to really interesting opportunities. Like the one you
hmm.
said, you have a
Yep.
friend, you made a friend who
Yes.
got to know you and probably also recognize that you're working hard. So when that opportunity came, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
here it is. That's really interesting.
Definitely. Yeah.
The next thing that I was wondering about, kind of based on your experience, is once you were in industry, right, and you were working now on structural design for bridges, and you wanted to make
Hmm.
that switch from, bridge building to working on buildings,
Yep.
how did you approach that? Did you take additional courses or did you do this? Did you take the same approach? Did you start to talk to people in that field and start to build your network there? Or what was your, how did you end up making that switch?
Oh yeah, definitely. So there were two aspects in that. First one was that I had to improve my interpersonal skills. That's one thing, behavioral skills to answer that interview because Walter P. Moore was a big company and I was targeting that from day one when I was studying my master's. Like I
Oh,
liked their profile. I knew their work. I knew a couple of people there. So I know that I wanted to try there. So that's one thing. And I know that to get a job there, it was very difficult. So I had to like work on myself a lot.
okay.
So, and that's why I got like as a mentor to basically work on this soft skills we call.
Yes.
Uh, Definitely. That's one thing. Regarding the technical part, so for technical part, what I did was I did not have many friends who were working in this field. So it was mostly online. I did not take any courses or anything, but I did like a projects on my own, found some examples online. I worked on a like a project, side project of my own for like 2 months. I rigorously worked on it, prepared reports, plans, and designs, and I prepared a lot of these things. And when the interview came, I actually prepared a presentation
Oh,
of what I did. Yeah, because see, like, and I went there and I knew that, okay, the first question they are going to badger me with was, you are working in a different field. How will you transfer that? So I
right.
knew that question was going to come. So I thought, okay, let's just answer the elephant in the room. And I went with the presentation, and they had kind of a different format. It was not like a four on panel, four panel kind of thing. It was one-on-one interview. So
Uh,
I could give the presentation, but I had a hard copy. So I just passed along that hard copy, and instead of looking at my resume, now they were looking at the project I did.
that is so clever, Gaurav. And
Yeah.
another insight I think students can apply as well. And one that I know at our company, we really appreciate in candidates, anytime you can see a project,
Yes.
whether it's a website, an app, or in your case, design work,
Yep.
it's a invaluable insight into what that person's
Mm.
capable of. So that's a really cool way. That's a really cool way to show that you have skill in a field that
Yes.
you don't have a, a background in. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, what a cool way to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
and after that, that 10-minute discussion on that PPT, I remember I did not get any technical questions in that interview of 3 hours or 4 hours.
because they saw, you obviously know what you're doing.
Yeah, because I mean, you could say that I answered it tactfully, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I want to take a step back now and talk about some of the other questions you did get asked. And again, just give students some insights. So you mentioned the value of these soft skills. So
Yes.
this ability to communicate and share your transferable skills. Um,
Mm.
so when you spoke with your mentor, what did they advise you to do? What specifically did you have to improve to be successful in that interview? Because what I'm trying to do is give students some idea of, okay, you maybe they're going to job interviews,
Yeah.
they're not
Yep.
getting hired.
Hmm.
So what could be missing from their interpersonal skills in your mind?
What I can tell from my experience and my friends' experience is that what I lack was organization of thoughts,
Oh,
and how you present that thought to and recruiter or whatever guy you're talking to. Like whatever you did, okay, you might have done a great thing, but if you are not able to explain that in a proper structured way, if somebody asks you a definition and you call, okay, this is called this, that's the first statement. I mean, that's not a proper way to explain. If you
right.
have somebody from HR who doesn't understand the technical terms that you did, I mean, you might have done PhD research and won a Nobel Prize, but if you cannot explain that to a person who doesn't understand, so she told me that to work on that, to organize the thoughts, to get to know my projects better, and how can I explain to someone who doesn't know. So what I did was I started calling people out of my field, and then I was explaining to
Oh,
them. Okay, hey, I was like actually bugging them. Okay, now you have to be on call for me for 10 minutes, and I'm going to explain to you. And now I'll ask you questions if you understood or not. So
wow.
that's how I tackle. Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I got people who were in my field while I was in interview. So I'm not sure how much it helped or not. But I mean, yeah, I mean, another thing is you don't have to go too off technical, because it might seem that okay, you don't know the technical part as well. So yeah, finding that perfect balance is what I learned in the 6 months with my mentor. Yep.
That is again, I'm really glad we have a chance to chat today, Gaurav, because that's really going above and beyond. And it makes a lot of sense, but that's a lot of um effort you put in to make sure you could tell your stories clearly in a way. And I do hear this from many employers that students need to find a way to explain things
Explain.
clearly
Yes, yes.
and to people that may not know it as well as them.
Mm,
So that's an extremely valuable insight. And
definitely.
yeah, it that just goes to show what what it might take. Calling your friends and saying, "Hey, can I explain to you how to do stress analysis or
Yeah, yeah.
FEA on a bridge?" is above and beyond for sure.
Sure, definitely. No, and right now, actually, I'm working on my own company, just like you,
Ah,
and I get to deal this with a lot. To explain people who doesn't understand, who don't know, who might be developers and HRs and people who are not from my technical field, and I have to explain them. Okay, that I did this technical thing. So something I did that like 2 3 years ago is coming for use for me now.
yes.
So, I mean, that if you think that, okay, you gave an interview and you didn't get that interview, just don't be harsh on yourself. Every experience is a good experience. That's what I believe. Yeah.
I think that too. And you kind of touch on in terms of experiences, you sort of created your own opportunities by taking on a project. And I think that's an interesting one because I think much of the advice I hear around trying to get these opportunities is to volunteer, which is very valuable. But this is
Yeah.
another alternative, right? To take on a project of your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you do any volunteering or anything like that?
At that time, there was not much scope for volunteering because
Okay.
you couldn't go out because of the COVID.
Of
That was one
course.
thing.
So
Yeah,
you found
and
another way.
the only volunteering I did was I was part of ASCE Richmond, and they had some online volunteering kind of tasks to do, like check students' application for scholarships and
Oh
some kind of
wow.
miscellaneous tasks. Yeah, some miscellaneous tasks. I did get to learn from them a lot, because when you read students' application, you get to realize a lot of things, that okay, they are doing this, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that,
Right.
And if you have an idea and then somebody did that and it didn't work, so now you can cross that off your list as well. Maybe okay, it's not a great idea. I can
Right.
move on to the next one. Yeah.
Just taking any opportunity to learn there.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Definitely.
And now that you're back home and you're doing this again, right? You're again switching from one workplace culture to another.
Hmm. Hmm.
What have you found has helped? Is there anything that you've done to kind of get used to the new workplace culture? Because I think a lot of people are finding that travel is something they want to do, so they'll end up abroad, but then they need to integrate themselves into a new community and a new way of thinking. And have you found anything that helps with that process?
I mean, nothing much has changed. I mean, there are some changes because, as you said, travel and everything. The work culture is different here. So I'm just trying to. I actually quit that job 2 months ago. But
Uh,
when I was there, I was just trying to be part of their culture. So I just compartmentalized my initial work culture thoughts, and I just tried to be in their environment. It's like when in Rome, do as Romans do.
yes.
So I was just trying to with that, and I think it worked. And my peers were also very patient, because they knew that I was coming from a different work culture and everything. So that's one thing. Another thing, I actually selected a job properly, the company, so that I knew which will help me transition. Because yeah, if I went to any place where the work culture is drastically different, I wouldn't have able to survive there for even 7 days. I know that.
So you did the research ahead of time to make sure this
Yes.
is a
Yeah.
company that
Yes.
that you would feel comfortable at. And I think that's useful
Yeah.
for students to know too, to do that research,
Definitely.
you know,
Yeah. And the best way to research is again networking on LinkedIn. Yeah. Yeah.
asking people what is it like actually working there.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, yeah, just search the company hashtag. You will find a lot of people actually sharing their stories. So that's
Ah,
one way. Yeah.
that's a great tip. Um, well, I know I only have a few more minutes of your time here, so
No
um,
problem.
the kind of last couple questions I want to ask are around what kind of opportunities you think there might be um, for the future here. So, are you noticing any emerging fields or job opportunities that students might want to keep an eye out for? And, from in your experience, are you seeing anything that's sort of, hey, this might be something good to learn about now because it might be um, something people hire for in the future? Anything like that, if that makes sense?
So I'll talk about in my field or in just in general.
Even just in general.
I was actually quite influenced by what Mark Zuckerberg did 2, 3 years ago about Metaverse.
Okay.
So that's another one thing I really think is going to change the way we behave and live.
Ah,
That Yeah, that's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen a lot after, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years. But it will redefine the job market. Definitely new jobs will be created, because you have to develop a lot of digital infrastructure, and it affects us structural engineers as well, because we will have to get accommodated with the new way the working and meeting and everything is this. That's one thing.
huh.
Second thing, second thing I think in that market would be the interpersonal skills. Now, because you have computer doing the job, so what the role will define, what a job application will look at is interpersonal skills, how you communicate with the other person sitting on the other side of the computer, because you can just tell the computer to do a lot of things. So now you have to talk with that person and analyze the result, whatever you are discussing, and then move on and then tell that to your team, tell that to your peers. So these interpersonal skills, teamwork, communication, organization, I think these are the skills that will be very, very useful. So developing this soft skills is very important, and taking extracurricular activities is the best way to do that, in my opinion. Yeah.
That's really helpful, Gaurav. I think I haven't heard people talk about the new opportunities something like the metaverse will create. Definitely there's going to be a ton needed around digital and physical infrastructure to support
Sure,
that. And then,
definitely.
yeah, you make a great point, as software comes in and can do many of the tasks that people may not want to do really,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
like admin work and that type of thing. It's going to be even more important to have those people skills for the jobs
Definitely.
that are human based. So I think that's a great insight as well. And are there any other sort of pieces of career advice that you'd like to share kind of before we wrap up our episode here?
I mean, no, just one thing that to all the students who are watching, that don't hesitate to reach out to anybody in your network and keep expanding your network on LinkedIn. Just that one thing. I mean, LinkedIn helps. I got mostly all my jobs through LinkedIn.
Wow.
So yeah, just don't spend too much time on resume. Resume is important, but the stuff that goes into resume is more important. Yeah,
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, what
yeah,
you're actually doing there. And
definitely.
we have LinkedIn to thank for our chat today. We just
Oh
connected through
yeah,
the platform. So
oh
you're
definitely.
yeah, definitely I agree with that. And thank you
Yeah,
again for making some time, Grav, and hopefully we'll
no
have a chance to
problem.
chat again in the future.
Definitely, yeah. Thanks for reaching out. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of doing like making a video of this thing, and you
Ah,
actually made a podcast of it. So yeah, I mean, we'll put this up on LinkedIn, and hopefully it helps some
I think
students.
it will. I'm excited for people to hear your stories. I think you have
Uh,
some incredible insights, and I think it will definitely help job seekers today. So
no
thank you again
worries.
for making some time.
No worries. Yeah, yeah. Happy to help.
Awesome. Well, you enjoy the weekend, Gaurav, and
You
I hope
too.
we chat again soon.
Definitely. Yeah. You have a good day.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.